Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Mentor-Led Recruiting, the Future of Talent Pipelines. My name is Jasmine, and I'm on the marketing team here at Mentor Collective, and I'm excited to kick off today's webinar. Next slide, Erin, please. So a few housekeeping notes as we get started. This webinar is being recorded, and we'll send you the recording and some additional resources in a follow-up email. On the screen, you'll see a few tips to help ensure a smooth virtual experience today. Upon entry, your audio is on mute, and we recommend adjusting your video layout to speaker view for the best experience. We'd also love to know where everyone is joining from, so feel free to share your name and institution or company in the chat. And throughout the session, you can drop questions in the chat or use the Q&A feature. We also encourage you to use the reactions feature throughout the session to keep things fun. And introducing today's speaker, we have Erin Mayhood, Chief Executive Officer here at Mentor Collective. Take it away, Erin.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jasmine. And thank you all for being here today. It's great to see all of you. And this is a very timely and exciting topic that we are seeing a lot of with our current partners, our customers, and thought leaders in the country. And so really, really excited to share what we're seeing here right now. Today, during this event, we're going to talk a little bit about what's broken in the education to employment transition and why it really matters for all of you. I know on this call today, we have institutions of higher education, credentialing providers, and employers and workforce boards. So great to have you all here. And why does this matter to all of us? We're going to talk about that. We're going to specifically talk about how mentor-led pipelines grow when we have recruiting pipelines grow when mentors are involved. And I'll talk about at least 4 examples today to show you how it's working for others. It really does boost career readiness for students and improves retention and advancement for employers. And then we'll talk about these actionable strategies that you can use right now to integrate mentorship into your recruiting, strengthen your institutional or ROI, and meet workforce needs. And those definitely include those very human needs of durable skills and leadership. So, very excited to dive in. Right before we do that, we wanted to hear a little bit of your voice. And so, Jasmine, do you have a poll you can launch for us? Thank you. What is driving your interest in mentor-led recruiting today? Is it enhancing student retention and completion, expanding access to career exploration and preparation, meeting employer demand for work-ready talent? Maybe it's addressing talent shortages with scalable solutions, increasing equity in hiring outcomes. And if you have another reason for being here today, we would love to hear it in the chat. All right. How are we doing with responses?
So it looks like the top response is expanding access to career exploration and preparation.
Yes. Okay. Not surprised to hear this because that is truly one of the points that sits at the intersection of all of the roles that you have here today, and that is going to be a big part of today's conversation. I'm also hearing about alumni engagement, and so I want to shout that out. Thank you for sharing, and we will also touch on that today. So I'm going to start with, the why now. And I know that we're all in a lot of venues talking about AI. You might be getting tired of it, the disruption that's happening. And I want to flip the narrative a little bit. And you see the title on this slide, Human Skills Are the New Currency. So AI is absolutely disrupting the world of work. It's disrupting school in a variety of ways. It's not just replacing tasks, but it's absolutely shifting how people seek guidance, how jobs are structured. Many people, probably most of us on this call, find ourselves going to ChatGPT or similar types of tools before you might speak to an advisor or before you might speak to a manager. We're also seeing reports and feeling on the ground that routine jobs are disappearing, and the premium on human skills is really rising quite quickly. Opportunity remains unequal. It still depends on something fundamentally human, who you know. And when students don't see how their education connects to meaningful work, dropout rates climb. And that is now a well-documented trend that we're seeing. For employers, that same disconnect shows up as turnover. And both sides are experiencing billions of loss in terms of losing students, in terms of losing talent. AI absolutely cannot replace fundamental things such as empathy, adaptability, collaboration, or leadership. These things are becoming the new currency, and mentorship is one of the key strategies to help you scale development of those skills. The numbers alone make this urgent. And I know you read this every day, but global talent gaps absolutely predicted to increase. And already we have 40% of graduates underemployed in their first job, and 60% of employers saying that graduates lack the durable skills that they require. Lots of different data out there, but Deloitte gives one example, finding that 61% of job postings in the last 2 years asked for at least one durable skill, yet too few of their candidates have them. So on the employer side, 83% of HR leaders saying they struggled to fill entry-level roles last year, yet applications are at an all-time high. It's fascinating. Some data predicts that skills mismatch will cost the US economy 1.2 trillion over the next decade, and that's not just an employer challenge. On the education side, I don't know if everybody has read this yet, but Titan Partners' most recent research shows that career readiness isn't only about employability, it's one of the strongest predictors of retention. Career readiness equals persistence. And when students can see that through line from education to opportunity, they stay. And when they stay and they complete, the whole pipeline strengthens. So this is where all of our stakes converge, which is why we wanted so many different roles and voices and so much representation on this webinar today. So for education providers, low ROI on degrees, employability gaps, and declining enrollment are the existential threats that you find you and your institution speaking about regularly. Credentialers, I'd argue that in the world of credentialing, post-secondary education is in the media and lots of the conversation, like risks losing relevance if employer alignment isn't clear. And this is absolutely something that we can solve. For employers, it's high churn. It's shallow leadership pipelines, change management, costly skill mismatches at a time when the skills that you're asking for tend to be fundamentally different than they were 5 years ago. And at the public level, if both sides fail, we lose that national competitiveness and progress on equity. The takeaway is honestly, super simple from my view, though not always simple to pull off. Neither side can solve this alone. It is a shared problem and it requires a shared solution. And we're so excited to share some of the stories of how people are solving these problems right now. So true shared solutions need us to have super deep understanding into the areas that we need to lean in. So what is truly driving this gap? And there are four root causes that come up over and over again in our conversations with our partners, our customers, and our prospects. And here they are. The training lags tech disruption. Curriculum simply cannot keep up with how fast AI and automation reshapes work. With the routine jobs disappearing, what happens to early talent? What is left? It absolutely requires those durable skills, adaptability. These are the ones that employers are reporting to us tend to be missing. Skill inflation also chokes opportunity, and entry-level jobs, in all honesty, are demanding inflated experience and credentials right now in a lot of cases. That's why so many HR leaders are saying they're struggling to fill entry-level roles, and why promising talent might get screened out before they ever have a chance to prove themselves. These lost layers create lost learning. So if you can imagine, the flattening of these reporting lines that we're seeing with shrinking middle management, there are fewer on the job mentors, less feedback, less on the job experiential learning. You're going straight in. And that means early career employees are missing critical development opportunities, a problem we can solve. And then networks are truly gateways. I keep seeing between 70 and 80% everywhere we look of jobs filled via connections. Imagine if you are a person who does not have a ton of social capital, who was not born into a family with a huge network. Referrals, despite these numbers, account for less than 10% of the applicants, but get a much higher percentage of the jobs. So without access to networks, students are at risk, could be dropping out, employees disengage, we have turnover rising. And so there's a through line here that social capital is a fundamental piece of this. Without real connection, training and hiring will remain mismatched, leaving millions behind. And this brings us to the solution today. So I don't know how many of you, had heard the term mentor-led recruiting, mentor-led hiring before you saw this invitation today. This is really a term that we've started to use based off of the work that we're doing with our partners. And we're calling this solution mentor-led recruiting because you'll see how mentors are just so embedded in it from beginning to end. Here's what we mean. Mentor-led recruiting is when organizations use mentorship as part of the way they bring new talent into their hiring pipeline. Instead of waiting for resumes or applications, they're putting their people in direct contact with future talent. Examples: a software engineer mentors a computer science student. A nurse mentors a pre-nursing student. A manager mentors an intern. Those relationships really give candidates real insight into what that job is going to take and helps them work on and build those durable skills, understanding expectations, understanding how to adapt, problem solve within the work environment. And they also give employers a window into who's ready. For education, very same principle. Students interact with alumni, with industry professionals, even peer mentors so much earlier. And those connections help them translate what they're learning as part of their curriculum into real career pathways. So instead of maybe drifting or stopping out, like we hear from some of our students, they're gaining clarity and confidence about where their degree can take us. And again, now well documented with some of the Titan partner research. This mentor-led model, it's honestly doing three things at once: building your durable skills and your confidence for all of our future talent. It helps employers identify and attract people who are motivated and prepared. And it grows leadership skills in the mentors. So another amazing benefit of this, as more and more organizations are recognizing some of their leadership gaps and looking for alternative ways to help build more leadership capacity. For schools, it means persistence, completion, and with the increasing numbers in performance-based funding, employability, and more dollars. For employers, we're excited to report those that we're working with are seeing stronger and more diverse pipelines. And across the system, it's creating an approach to recruiting that feels human and less transactional, which I think is a lovely thing for all of us right now. So mentorship filling this gap that all of you here today are seeing in different ways. And it's really, it is embedding something that I think we all feel missing in our organizations and the world right now: embedding connection and belonging into the culture, not as a perk, but as a core value. And as we see issues such as social anxiety and screen addiction and isolation continuing to grow, building this in as a core value, so critical. It's critical whether you're an employer that's trying to engage your early talent or a campus leader trying to help students feel and know that they belong here. It fundamentally builds those durable skills. You employers need those skills for productivity and to keep your best employees in seat, and institutions need them to drive persistence and completion and the performance-based funding that I think I'm hearing is in 36 states now. It also extends capacity. When managers, advisors, or faculty are stretched thin, something we are hearing over and over again, mentors can provide the human support that scales without adding it to an already burdened staff. So we've seen this in action, and we're going to share some real world examples with you right now. All right. We chose for this 4 very different settings where mentor-led recruiting has transformed pipelines. And my hope is that when you're hearing these 4 very different examples, you will see a piece of your own organization or a challenge that you are looking to solve in some of these examples. So I'm going to start with higher education. At the University of Wisconsin Green Bay, the example we've chosen for today, first-generation students often struggled to picture themselves in a career. They had definitely the academic ability, but not the networks or the confidence to connect their degree to their future. The university solved this by pairing those students with alumni and professional mentors. The impact is just so incredibly powerful. Career decision confidence jumped by more than 30%. Sense of belonging, another leading indicator of retention, jumped by 20%. These are just some of their metrics. This is absolutely mentor-led recruiting in action, reaching students earlier, giving them real role models as they go through their educational experience and helping them stay on track to get them to graduation. So love sharing this story, love seeing these improvements. Also, you can see on the screen academic improvements from career mentors. We love to see this. I'm going to turn it around and take a look at the corporate side. So this is a Fortune 500 company that we work with that found that though they were running a very robust and well-planned and well-organized internship program, their interns were not applying for or accepting their job offers. So a lot of investment, not getting the interns and the pipelines growing the way they needed to. The students coming in had such promise, but without structured support throughout the internship, they often left for competitors. So the company wanted to try something different. And here's what we did. In addition to their internship manager, we paired each intern with another employee who could help guide that intern on culture, projects, career navigation. Take out the hierarchy of your intern manager and somebody that you align with, somebody you feel comfortable talking to about where you're going, why you're going there. The results were astonishing, a 42% jump in interns converting to full-time roles. And 86% of interns said mentorship was the #1 reason they accepted the job offer. That's mentorship turning internships into true talent pipelines, not just summer jobs. All right, another very different example. Let's talk about a very specialized environment, a national research laboratory. Mentor-led recruiting is not just about students or interns. It also accelerates things such as innovation. At Oak Ridge National Laboratory, they were experiencing siloed research and development teams, and they felt internally that it was slowing their progress. To break through that particular issue, they created innovation pods where we paired senior scientists to mentor junior researchers. The impact was almost immediate. Patent filings rose by 28%, and time to breakthrough dropped by 4 months. Again, something so simple, but that's mentorship at work again, not only transferring knowledge, but building the leadership pipeline that fuels scientific discovery. So wonderful. And then finally, my last example. Let's talk about one of the most critical workforce challenges we face today, the teacher pipeline. Many districts really facing huge challenges here, facing potential collapse under shortages, really, really high attrition, fragmented support. Moreland University addressed this by creating an integrated pathway where teachers in training were paired with mentors alongside their certification process. And here we are with our theme again. The result, stronger recruitment, higher retention, producing a more stable, confident teacher workforce. And I love to end this one as one of my examples because the mentor-led recruiting, this is a solution of bringing multiple parties together, introducing the human element of support to meet a national crisis head on, stabilizing the very people that we rely on to educate our next generation. So I'm going to end with that particular example and transition into first I'll say I really hope that those examples, saw some of the comments I see, they are inspiring, aren't they? And I also hope that they draw some connections for you, that they help you ideate on some of the challenges that you might be facing today, and how working together and thinking beyond certain boundaries can really help us address those challenges. So how do you actually get started with something like this? And so a few things that I want to highlight here in addition to what you see on the screen. Step one, really think about how you can bring your mentors into your recruiting touch points. For employers, that means employees mentoring interns, candidates, new hires. How do you get them involved? For educators, can you tap alumni or local professionals in your region? Think about all of the corporate partnerships your school has. Allow them, open them up to guide students before they hit the job market. You're seeing some of these numbers are telling the story of the impact that would have for your institution and those students. Step two, I want to highlight, use mentorship to build durable skills before the day one of work. I've mentioned them a few times: adaptability, professionalism, confidence. There's a long list of the skills that students need to graduate with. Embed resources and nudging and encouragement into your mentorship offerings to ensure that they're hitting the mark. Employers get stronger day one ready hires. Educators see better persistence and completion and placement. And then step three, unlock the multiplier effect of your data. Mentorship is not just one-on-one. A lot of people think mentorship is one-on-one. Mentorship is actually a network, and it generates insights at scale. When you do structured mentorship, every interaction creates signals of belonging, of growth, of readiness. Here is the multiplier effect that we see time and time again. Those insights, with the proper workflows in place, can flow directly to the people who can act on them. In education, that's your student success leaders, it's your advisors, your career office, the list goes on. In the workforce, that's talent acquisition, it's your HR teams. Think of what you could do with these signals. That turns mentorship from a supportive single relationship into a strategic system that drives the outcomes that we were able to share today. So, what is next? This is why we're seeing from our partners, and this is why I come out saying, not afraid to say it, that the future of talent pipelines is mentor-led. For education, that means proving ROI on your degrees. Help students connect learning to real opportunities. Get your alumni involved. I'll shout out the alumni again. Get your corporate partnerships involved. For employers, it means day one ready talent with durable skills that AI cannot replace. And for both, it means stronger retention and leadership growth. And when mentorship becomes part of your system. So this isn't just about a program, it's not about a perk. It is truly, when you think about what it can do for a region, it's an infrastructure. Mentorship is a shared bridge. It connects education to work. It's how we build those pipelines. It's how they diversify, and it's how they're built, honestly, to last. So I'm going to leave this on the screen, and there's something that you can download here. No form fill required, but I'll just speak to it a little bit while we're here. So we've talked a little bit about the cracks in the pipeline. We've seen what happens when students can't connect learning to careers, or when employers can't retain their early talent. And we've seen what works. Mentorship not as a side program, but as true infrastructure connecting the dots. So here is my challenge. I ask that you don't leave this idea on a slide. Think about where you can start. Maybe it's bringing alumni in and working into your career services. Maybe it's pairing interns with mentors. Maybe it's partnering with a local company or a community group. The cost of doing nothing is very, very high. Turnover, dropout, underemployment. We're seeing those numbers right now. It's already on your balance sheet, I can guarantee you. And so the gains from acting, very, very clear. The future can absolutely be mentor-led. And the only question I have is, will you be part of it? So let's get ready to explore it more deeply. If you are at that point, I encourage you to download this. It's a read. No form, no friction. Just take it in. You'll find more examples, practical steps you can take on your campus or at your company. And I really honestly, I honestly hope that this brings new ideas and helps you find different pathways to problem solve. That's what I have for you today. Jasmine, can you bring us home? We have 3 minutes left.
Course. So before I share what's next, we have a poll that's launching. We'd love to connect with anyone looking for more information, and we appreciate any feedback on today's webinar. We're also dropping a link in the chat to connect directly for your convenience. So as for what's next, you will receive a copy of the presentation and recording shortly. Stay tuned for an upcoming white paper on career readiness and mentorship that'll be out soon. And then we have an upcoming webinar happening in about a week and a half, introducing Conversation Sparks, launching a new way to spark real conversations in mentorship. We will demo Conversation Sparks, which is our new AI-powered feature designed to keep mentorship conversations flowing. So we hope to see you there.
All right. Thank you, everybody. It is an honor to have you all here, especially from so many different audiences. Whether you're with us live or watching the video, I really, really appreciate you spending this half hour with us. And take care, and we'll see you next time.